Good morning, friends. I hope you're having a great day out there in your gardens. Well, it's currently the day before Valentine's Day. Rocky is currently trying to climb up my leg, but what we're going to be doing today is setting up the flower stand for Valentine's, both today and tomorrow. But we're not going to be selling cut flowers. We're going to be selling potted plants. We're going to be selling potted hellebores, to be specific. So I want to do this for a couple different reasons. Ever since I started selling cut flowers, a lot of people, especially my friends that know me, have asked me if I have any plants for sale. They want to buy ranunculus, lisianthus, sweet peas, things that are harder to find in the nursery. So what I decided to do this year was to order extra ranunculus, to plant up extra sweet peas, and also to purchase for the first time ever lisianthus plugs. I've never purchased plugs before, and for my size yard, which is half an acre, I don't really need 250 lisianthus plugs. I need about 125. So I'm going to basically be selling plants that are good cut flowers at the flower stand in between the weeks when I don't have any cut flowers for sale. I want to try it out one year, see how it works. So let me take you inside and I'll show you the hellebores that we're going to be selling today. Could you hear Grace barking in the background? She is not okay with not coming outside with me. So here's the 6 hellebores that we have. This first one is called Candy Love, and that one is so beautiful. And then in the back, we have one called, I think it's Vive Liliana. I'll put the name on the screen for you, but I thought that one was really beautiful too. I can tell that we need to go for a walk, don't we, Grace? Yeah. So I better quickly set up this flower stand so I can take a very excited Labrador to the park. I love how the hellebores look behind this beautiful wood background. Nice creams, greens, magentas, soft eggplants. Sorry, it's really loud out here today, but that'll be good for selling I can't say cut flowers, potted plants. Let's see how it goes. It looks like we have our first customer of the day. It's a few hours later. We sold one potted hellebore, and now what I want to do is go ahead and pot up my ranunculus corms. I've been soaking these corms in water for about 3 hours. It's been maybe 3 hours and 15 minutes, so they're good to go. 3 to 4 hours is ideal. I change out the water once every single hour. This year, I'm going to do exactly what I did last year. I'm doing them in trays. I'm going to skip that pre-sprout in this flat bottom tray, and I'm going to go right to the cells. That's because I want to sell some of these. So the ones I want to sell, we're going to do in 36 cell trays. The ones I'm going to use here as cut flowers, we're going to do in 48s. And the varieties we're growing this year are Tecolote Merlot and also Tecolote Salmon. I've grown both of these varieties before from Longfield. Very happy with the results. So I'm growing them again. We have 170 corms total. Let's start with the Merlot ranunculus. I filled up this 36 cell tray with potting soil. This is pre-moistened potting soil. And I filled it up about a half to even 3/4 the way to the top. And then what we're gonna do is just place a ranunculus corm in each cell just like this. Oh, here's a double. And separated just like that. So now we'll place one corm in each cell. And once we have a corm in each cell, I'll cover them back up with more pre-moistened potting soil. And then I'll stick these trays in my unheated basement. That's approximately 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'll allow them to pre-sprout down there for about 10 to 14 days. Since I'm growing these on as plugs, what I'm going to do is once I see them sprout, I'll turn on my lighting system. And then we'll grow them on as transplants. Now we can cover the corms with more pre-moistened potting soil. And I won't really need to water these again until I turn my lights on. These should be good for that 10 days where they'll be sprouting roots and tiny little white shoots from the top. I like sprouting a whole bunch of ranunculus corms in a flat bottom tray if I'm going to plant them directly out into the garden after 14 days. But we are still incredibly cold here in Pennsylvania this year. We've got down even to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. And in the 10-day, it looks like the nights are about 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And I don't really want to be sticking the ranunculus out at 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's another reason why I'm choosing to grow them on inside for a little bit longer. So I kind of let weather and circumstance dictate whether or not I pre-sprout and then directly plant them into the garden after 10 days versus let them pre-sprout in these plug trays and then grow them on inside as transplants for just a few weeks. I don't anticipate growing these longer than, I would say, a month inside at the most. This year, the USDA hardiness zone map changed, and we went from a zone 6B to a zone 7A. I've always started my ranunculus in the very late winter, and that's because we get a lot of moisture here, a lot of rain, a lot of snow. And over the fall and winter season, the ground here is pretty wet, even soupy, I would say. So if I plant these out in the garden or in a raised bed and attempt to overwinter them, they just rot away. They just disappear in the ground. I have okay success overwintering anemones here. I think that's just because the corm is a little bit tougher. It must be less prone to rot. But I don't think that in a very wet 7A, I would risk planting out ranunculus in the fall in an open field or garden setting. Of course, if you had a high tunnel, that'd be a completely different situation because then you're in control of the moisture. But here where I'm not in control of the moisture, I find that these late winter plantings are really ideal and yield the best results and the least amount of loss. We got all those ranunculus planted up, and I currently have them sitting on my light system in the basement. I want to move on to our next planting project, which is starting a couple trays of root trainers with sweet peas. Now, last fall, we direct sowed some sweet peas for a sweet pea experiment I wanted to do. I wanted to compare a fall sown sweet pea, a directly sown fall sown sweet pea, to one that I starred in root trainers in very late winter, just like I always have. So let me show you what those sweet peas look like, and then we'll head inside and start some more. We're going to do the same exact variety, plant them in the way that I always do, and then compare their performance against one another. So here's the sweet pea planting. And as you can see, we got some nice growth on them before those winter temperatures hit. They do look a little worse for the wear, and we did them every other pole, but I think they're going to be just fine. And if I had to guess, these will probably bloom a little bit sooner and possibly be stronger plants, but we'll just have to wait and see. So now let's go inside and start some more sweet peas. We got that tray of sweet peas all planted up. As soon as those germinate inside my house, I like to immediately move that tray outside. I place it under my covered porch, which is still a full sun porch, just the way the sun kind of moves around the porch. It's always in full sun, even though it's covered. But the nice thing is, since it is covered, there is some protection from the wind, and wind dries out plants, and then it allows me to control the moisture. So if we get 3 days of rain, the root trainers aren't just sitting out there and pouring rain. They're protected from that, but they're still in a nice, bright, cool location. They're growing on cold, which is what they want. A cold grown sweet pea always results in a really nice, strong, stocky transplant with small interstems, which is really what I'm after. There's a new book on sweet peas coming out next week. I'll pop a link to that book in the description section below because I'm drawing a blank on the actual title, but I pre-ordered it months ago. I'm so excited for it to come out. This book I recommended in the past, Sweet Peas, An Essential Guide. This is the second edition by Roger Parsons. I think this is hands down the best book on growing sweet peas. It covers everything and anything you could want to know. It shouldn't be that expensive. It's old. You can probably even get it on thrift books for maybe $5, but this is definitely worth having if you love growing sweet peas. Well, it started to snow. My husband's out there feeding the birds right now. I think we'll be okay to leave the potted hellebores out there in the snow, but if this turns to rain, we're going to have to shut down because I do have tissue paper around those hellebores. Well, friends, I'm going to wrap up today's video because the snow turned to rain, and then the rain turned into a crazy windstorm, and one of our shutters blew off of our house and is currently sitting on top of our roof. So we're going to have to get a ladder up to the lower roof and then get a ladder up to the upper roof to attempt to get that shutter down. But the nice thing about selling these potted plants, even though we only sold a few today, is that I can sell them for the next probably 3 months. Thankfully, it's not like cut flowers where you have to sell them within a few days. These potted hellebores are going to look good for at least 3 months. I'll just keep them in the addition of my house near a window, and then I can resell them on days that I set up. Probably even at Easter. Maybe you'll see these 4 remaining hellebores again. So friends, thanks so much for joining me for today's video. It's freezing out here. It's so cold. I'm so ready for spring. I want to wish you a wonderful day out there in your gardens, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.